Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ever Living Parent by Mussarat Ziaee. And people call me Amna Saif. So hopefully going to start Ever Living Parent session with you right now. Thank you so much for joining this talk today. I think it's a need for every single home nowadays because people they're joining from Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Today I'm here, Mussarat Ziaee, or you can call me Amna Saif. So I'm here to start a very, very important session with you that is on Ever Living Parent. I've received so many questions regarding it, and also people asked about how can we be important in our child's life, or what difference do I make? How is it like my role in the home? So there were so many questions. So I thought to compile the queries of so many parents here, and then make it a small little session for the parents who would like to hear more about Ever Living Parent. Just from the word, just from the title, you can understand what is the role of a parent. You can be ever living. You can make a huge difference in your child's life, and your legacy, your goals, your aims, your beliefs, the child can carry on and on. And then that could be passed on to all the generations coming up. We do not know how long the impression stays with them, but we certainly know that it becomes a part of their personality. And there are different people who definitely can relate to it when they think about their childhood. Just think yourself, what is the best quality that you always liked about your parent, your father, your mother? Think about it. Yesterday, I asked my son, who was 16 years old, I asked him, what quality do you like in me? And then he didn't even think for a second or two and just said generosity. And then I asked him, how does this title relate to me, and what makes you think that? So he reminded me of an incident when he was very, very young, and it's like, what I recall, he was 6 or 7 years at that time when we went to our first trip in US, and we went to Costco. And while coming back, there was a lady who really admired, and she liked my slippers. Those were golden and like a little shimmery. And I right away gave those slippers to her. And my son he recalled that incident to me. He said that I saw you giving your slippers to her, and the whole way that you came to the parking from the Costco, you are wearing nothing. You just came barefoot and you gave her your sandals. So that's what I looked. And this was just a small incident that he recalled, but I'm sure he's been observing a lot throughout his life with me. And that's what children experience. And then again, I asked something about my husband, and he happily said that he is a fair person. So, you can have discussions like this to see what impression you are making, for them, and what are they absorbing from you. The reason why I'm using the term absorbing, you will just learn in a minute. So Let's start with the dua. Dua for sincere intention. Allah, make all my deeds righteous and make them exclusively sincere for your face, and do not let make anything of them for anyone. So this work that I'm doing right now is just for the Allah, the Lord, the creator of the world, who made the world, who made our existence possible, who made each one of us, and who gave us this role as a parent. So this effort is only for Him, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we will continue now. So let me connect and tell you first about how the child changes. So I'm just as an example, I've brought this life cycle of a frog here. You can compare a child's life from 0 to 24 years with this life cycle of a frog. Now, this is just one understanding which, the Montessori, Dr. Maria Montessori has presented. She has compared the life of a child with any life cycle of an animal, like it could be a frog, it could be a butterfly. So just for the parents to understand how they change. In fact, she calls it as rebirths of a child. So just like how you see in this life cycle of a frog, there are eggs, and then those eggs are changing into tadpole, and then the tadpole with hind legs, and then all four legs, and then you see the tail going shorter, and then even more shorter. So just like how frog, it has a characteristic, right? That it can survive both in water and on land, but the tadpole, it can't go in the outside land. It can only stay in water. So the characteristic is different, right? So when Allah created the environment for a frog, it's different for the tadpole and it's different for a frog. In the similar way, we have to understand the child now. So these developmental stages that you see in a child is from 0 to 6 years. Then you can in between see there is a 3. So it's a period of 6 years. The character stages, the characteristics definitely changes in 0 to 3 and then 3 to 6. But mostly characteristics are same in 0 to 6. I'm going to further divide it and talk in detail more about the characteristics in my upcoming sessions. But in this one, I'm giving a picture of a whole just to help you understand that the child has different characteristics at different stage. We will talk a little about this today, but more about this will definitely come up in my other sessions, inshallah. So in the developmental stages, that is 0 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 to 18, and 18 to 24, the characteristics are all different. The child is a completely new child. It's not the same. It's not the same. People, the parents usually comment that when they are 6 or 12 years old, they say that, oh, my child has changed so much. They have to understand that it's the characteristic that has changed. The child is completely a new child at that time. That's why Montessori has called it development is a series of rebirths. And she has identified it in 4 distinct stages of development from birth to adulthood. So starting from infancy, and then the childhood, and then the adolescence, and then the maturity. You can also see that the independence that the child aims is different at different age stages. In infancy, 0 to 6, it's more physical independence. Then the childhood, 6 to 12 is more mental independence. And then 12 to 18, that is adolescence, it is social independence. And then in the maturity, 18 to 24 is moral independence. We will talk about this in a little more details in the upcoming slides. Now, keeping the characteristics in mind, what do you think should be the aim of education? An aim of education can be from anybody's side. You know, parents are teachers. In fact, parents are the best teachers for their children. So, what do you think should be the aim of education here? The education of what Maria Montessori says is the education of even a small child, therefore, does not aim at preparing him for school, but for life. So when you are focusing on a child in 0 to 6 years or in the any other stage, it's basically you are preparing the child for life. If you have that goal in mind, your child can have a happy, you know, happy life, constructive, more effective. The reason is then you're preparing him for life. And this you can do only when you understand the characteristics at different stages. So, characteristics of children at 0 to 6 years. How do you think the child is at this stage? I'm going to touch base on just a few. As I told you, there is a lot to come ahead. So, first, I would like to discuss a few, and you will know the importance what a child is able to do at this stage and what he can do in the next one, right? So here it's physical and biological independence. You see a drastic change in his movements, starting from 0 when he's unable to even lift his head. The only coordinated movements that the child can do is sucking because he's sucking the milk. After that, slowly and gradually, you can see the development in the movements. The child starts to turn, then sit, and then starts to stand and walk and then run. This is so slow in the start, but then gradually you see a huge difference. A child that is 0 to 3 years is a completely different child, if you say about if I further divide it, because he is in unconscious absorbent mind time period. 0 to 3. And then 3 to 6 is a conscious absorbent mind. I've already uploaded a few sessions on absorbent mind, but here also I'm going to talk a little about it so you have an idea how the child is constructing himself. This period 0 to 6 is also called a self-construction period. In this, the child is working on his self-construction. You can see they love to tie their shoes again and again. They love to dress up. They love to open up the drawers, close the drawers. They see you around them. They like to copy you. They like to imitate you. And they want to become just like you. And by the age 6 years, you can see a mini adult. So many people say a 6-year-old boy that like father, like son, you'll see many of the children walking, talking, even sitting like their fathers, or girls, dressing up like their moms. They start showing up by the age of 6 years how much they have copied you, how much they have observed you, and how much they have absorbed. Absorbent mind is a really powerful mind. And its importance you can definitely realize if you just understand that how the child starts to talk. At 0, he had no language, but by the age of 1, he starts to utter a few words. And by the age 2, you can't even stop him. He keeps on going and going. And in 2.5, when they usually go join school, Montessori's, they talk nonstop. It's also called an age of what? And they keep asking, what is this? What is this? So they need a lot of names around them. They want to understand what is happening in my home. Who are the members around me? What role do they have in my life? But it's more home. They are more in their home. The immediate family matters the most. Then the guest coming at home matters the most. People visiting at home matters the most. And as soon as they start going to school, then comes the role of the teacher, friends in the classroom, and then all he can absorb more and more in the Montessori classroom. His vocabulary increases, and increases. At the age of 2.5, if he's coming in the classroom with 250 words, when the time he leaves the classroom by the age of 6, he gets the vocabulary around 6,000 words. So you can imagine and understand how important absorbent mind time period is. They also have sensitive periods. These are special periods that comes within this time frame 0 to 6 years, and they vanish away. Sensitive periods, there are sensitive periods for language, there are sensitive periods for movement, there's sensitive period for development of social behavior, there's sensitive period for developing their senses, there's sensitive period for order. I do have another session coming up on sensitive period in detail, but right now I would just like to talk a little about how if they do not have sensitive period for language in this age, they won't be able to learn the language. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gifted them with sensitive period, and this sensitive period helps them acquire the skills that they need in their life. Isn't it beautiful to understand that the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he wouldn't have given them the sensitive period, how would they have acquired the language of the family they are born in? A child born in China, in a Chinese family, starts speaking Chinese by the age of 1 or 2, or somebody who is in UK, or somebody who is in France. So it's all whatever they have in their environment, they pick up those languages. Montessori says that by the age 6, within this time period, minimum 6 languages they can learn. I've seen so many people around me who are blessed with 3 languages in their environment, and their kids speak 3 languages. I was myself raised in Dubai. So there was Arabic in my environment, there was English in my environment, and Urdu. And I saw many people over there who were like from Pashto families, so they were even more like at an advantage of learning 4 languages in their home. So it all depends where the child is born and raised. So you can understand the importance of sensitive period for language. I just touched one, but there are so many other. And of course, I have to cover up the other characteristics of the other age groups. So definitely you will get a chance to listen to more sessions in the upcoming time. Okay, so here are characteristics of the children 6 to 12 years. You can see how the characteristics change from physical independence. Now it's more mental independence. Where in the previous one, the child would ask you questions, what is this? What is this? Here in this time period, in this age, he will ask you, why? Why is this? Why there is a sun in the environment? Why there are insects? Why insects have a class? Why animal has a class? When do you think this world came into being? How did the world start? How many species of the beings are there on the world? So many reasoning questions. They have a lot of reasoning questions in their mind. And if you, Montessori says, if you want to give them the universe, they will even be ready to take that. So now you can understand the importance of this age group. Yes, this is the most important age group. Why? Because, and it's like Importance is starting from 0 years, but the thing is that every single stage has a value, and parents need to understand and then deal accordingly. Don't comment like, my child has changed. You were never like this. You were so loving, so caring. Don't say use those comments with the kids because they have different characteristics at different stages. So cooperative and collaborative work they like now, whereas in the previous stage, they used more individual work. They would be busy in their own world. They would be busy with themselves because they were self-constructing their movements, right? And all the other skills. But here, they have learned the language, they can easily read, they can write, and they are more into cooperative and collaborative work. They like to do work in groups. They like to gain knowledge in groups. You can have a small group, take them to library, and then do different projects with them. If you want, you can start a discovery work with them. For example, Life Under the Sea. They are going to show you so many books from the library, and they can start making up projects. You can even see a baker's sale here in the picture. They love doing stuff like this. You can do a lot with them at this stage because because they are learning why things are happening around them. So they are more curious if you compare to the other age groups. They gain a lot of knowledge. They now are, they can imagine, they can have an imaginative world around them. They can, if you tell a 0 to 6 year old about Superman, he wouldn't realize that, it's a fictional thing, but this age group will. They know if it's a fiction thing or it's a real thing. If you talk about a country, they can make a picture in their mind and imagine how the things could be there, though they haven't even been there to that place. But if you say there are so many bridges in New York, they are going to believe and they can and imagine a picture in their mind. If you're going to say that, oh, Calgary has got a lot of lakes in it, or Banff is a beautiful place, they can imagine that picture in their mind and could be very similar to what they are thinking, but they can imagine they are in that time period. Let's come to the characteristics of children from 12 to 18 years. Social independence. You know, parents complain a lot about this age group that they are more into friends now. We need to understand as a parent that it's a rebirth of a child, rebirth in a new stage. It's a completely different stage from what he was in the previous years. So now you will know the importance of friends, why don't feel bad about it if they're talking more about their friends, because some parents take it so serious. They comment or they criticize their children by saying that, oh, your friends are so much more important to you than your parents. Don't think like that. He can never live without the parents. Parents are the dearest one to them. It's just that they are into a social independence time period where friends become more social. They're trying to discover themselves. They are trying to discover, who am I? They are trying to fit in the groups. They are being labeled. So, if you have heard that proverb, a person is known by his company, so he is in a search of that company. He wants to know where I belong. And he's in practicing for adulthood right now. Though he's not an adult, but he pretends one. So it's his practice. He wants to be in his friends and pretend like he's an adult. All 12 to 18-year children, they are like that. This age group is very sensitive, very emotional. Why? Because there is again changes going on in their body. They're changing physically, they're changing psychologically, they're changing emotionally. Then there is hormonal change in them. So a lot change is going inside their body. We have to be very, very patient. We parents have to understand that it's difficult for them. Internally, why we don't remember as a parent? Because it's been long, right? We don't even remember what changes we have gone through. It's only those children who are going through that they would understand. And if you just recall a little bit, you could think of how people used to call you in the classroom if you would be wearing glasses, how you would spend so much time in front of the mirror and just keep fixing your shirt, your dress, or your hair before going to school. Just think of those, then think of that time. This is going to come in your mind. This will not be alien to you. You would definitely say, yes, I spent more time brushing my teeth, I spent more time in doing washing my face, and like you would be very conscious of what you're wearing, how you're dressing up, in which group you're moving, who are the friends around you. Honestly, any change at this time is becomes very, very difficult for the child. So please take extra care of your children if you plan a move to some different place. I'm going through this right now. I have a 16-year-old boy and I am in a new place. But I am so thankful to Allah that Allah helps a lot in getting them adjusted in the environment. And then, of course, our prayers are with our kids. Let's talk more about what they like to do. They love to do volunteer work. They love to hang out with the friends and they love to work in the community. So this time period is really important. They want themselves to be acknowledged. They want themselves to be, like prominent when they are in a group. And some are shy. They're just discovering themselves. So every child has a different type, like, so they are basically discovering themselves. It's just that we need to respect in whatever they are trying to figure out about themselves. Now, this is 18 to 24 years. Characteristics of children in 18 to 24 years. We can also say adults. Yes, they have entered into the stage which can be called as adulthood. So, what is the main thing here? Economic independence. Many of them starts thinking that, oh, I have to think about taking care of my expenses myself. Can I start earning? Can I find a job? Can you help me in that? Can you help me figure out how to write, how to prepare a resume? All these things starts coming in their mind. What car I'm going to get? Where am I going to live if I'm going to be 24? Who is going to be my partner? So many questions. They're already ready to move into their adulthood. So, what do I do with my life is their biggest question. What do I do with my life? Finding place in society. Now, the role is getting bigger. It's not just friends, it's society. Finding place in society. Where am I going? University, college? Still, if I'm in a high school, okay, high school, in the neighborhood, in the community center, any recreational spot, a gym, so places they are more conscious now. They want to know, or they are developing their purpose in the world, but they are more stronger, more compared to the previous stage. They are more stronger to be in the world now. 18 plus, you can actually count on them. Actually count on them for so many things. They can help you bring the groceries. They can drive for you. They can do a lot of work for you. In fact, they can be your assistant in everything. So start and then they take more responsibility to start counting them in many different things. If you let them host a show or even organize an event, they can definitely do it. They start looking up for their life partners. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's go on. Now, our goal should be, if you want to become an ever living parent, you should think about being a positive parent, a parent who always thinks positively about their own life and about their children's life. The example of parents is the greatest teacher. Parents must stand out as models of happiness to their child or to their children. You know, if you look at the stages that I have just discussed with you, you can understand that every stage is important and your role matters a lot, a lot. Okay, let's see. Now, what is the aim of the life? What I told you previously was what a psychologist think. She thinks, the Dr. Maria Montessori, she thinks the education of a very small child does not aim at preparing him for school, but for life. That's what a psychologist say, and she's absolutely right. I am just connecting it to the Holy Book Quran and understanding the role or the aim of life through Quran, what Allah has mentioned. So Allah has mentioned in Surah Kahf, ayat number 7, we have adorned the earth with attractive things so that we may test mankind as to which one is best in conduct. So we are being tested in the world for our conduct, for our deeds that we do, for our role that we are playing. So we have to be conscious the role that we are playing in the world. And the world is very attractive, but we have to be conscious of our conduct here. We'll talk more about it in detail. But by this test, being in this world as if you are in a test, we can already understand a little bit that yes, we are being watched. Yes, we are being tested, and that this test can be easy if we open up the manual of our life, the manual of human being. Just like there is a manual of a washing machine, there is a manual of a computer, there is a manual of any single thing around you which you open up and see the use. So why you are here, the reason you have in this life, that you come to learn through Quran. So Quran is our manual. We have to read Quran to understand our aim in life. So if I go from the Quran and then after Hadith, so Sahih Bukhari talks about being positive, talks about how the best Muslims could be. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the best among you Muslims are those who learn the Quran and teach it. Honestly, when you start learning Quran and when you start learning the meaning, the translation, your attitude becomes positive. You become positive. So when I'm talking about a positive parent, for an ever living parent, we need to connect ourselves to something that is ever living. So Quran is for every single time. Something that some important book that was, the verses were revealed on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The ones, this revelation, the Quran, is there for the whole time till hereafter. This book will go on from one generation to another. If you start following Sunnah, if you start reading and applying Quran Quran's teachings in your life, you'll start to become a positive parent every single day. And you will make a huge difference in your child's life. And now just think about the importance that I just discussed with you, the different stages of the child's life. You can understand your role, that you cannot leave them on their own. You have to be engaged in their life one way or another. But there can be so many ways how you can be attached or with them in their life. It just depends on and you how you're liked by your child or how much your presence is appreciated in his life. Honestly, if I consider myself, I'm in my 40s, still I need my parents. I cannot live a single day without talking to my mother. And luckily, I have two mothers because I have a mother in law and I have a mother of my own. So lucky to have my mothers. So the child who is still 24 years, definitely development is going on. Definitely personality is developing. Definitely mind is developing. So at least give your best to them till they are in this stage. And then, of course, the more time you get, the better it is for them. And the better it is for you. Because those are ni'mats, right? Those are our blessings in the world. Allah has given us kids. It's a huge responsibility, but of course, those are blessings also. Expectations of parents. What do we expect from our children? We want them to be thankful. We want them to say prayers on time. We want them to say all five prayers. We want them to have tawakkul. We want them to be, you know, patient. We want them to be caring. We want them to be generous. We want them to be loving to them and themselves and to us. And we definitely want them to fight against shaitan. That's why we keep all these, qualities in our mind and then raise them. The task is long. Of course, the life is long for a kid starting from 0 to 24 years. So many years you have to be with a child. But if you know the importance, you're going to enjoy every single stage of your child's life. So let's read one of the verses from Holy Quran from Surah Ahqaf, verse number 15. We have enjoined on man kindness to his parents. His mother bore him in pain, and in pain she gave birth to him. And his bearing and weaning takes 30 months. So importance here to understand, what is the importance of your mother. Allah has beautifully said in this verse about the role of the mother and then about you and about how be you being a parent. So at length, when he reaches the age of full maturity and attains 40 years, he says, O my Lord, help me to be grateful for your favors which you have bestowed upon me and upon both my parents and to do good deeds that will please you. Grant me righteousness in my offspring. Truly I have turned to you and truly I submit to you. So prayers are very important, and this verse is really, really very important to understand and also should be included in our prayers so that we could ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the righteous offsprings. For the children, how we expect them to be. Let's come on to the next slide. So look at the picture and what do you expect? You expect your expectations of the parents, or your expectations as a parent from them is you want a child like this, right? Okay, let's look into the next slide. I have some pictures here. What you saw was the aim. What you saw was the aim. How do you bring the child? You need to you need to see that. Okay. So look at the pictures here. Coming to that stage, before that, you have to be a role model to your child. You have to be the one who's loving and caring for your own parents. The child is observing you every single day. And if you again think about the characteristics that I discussed, you can well imagine how important your role is and how you can bring him to the stage where you see a small young little child kissing the forehead of his grandparent. Because you are doing it in the first picture. You are holding the hand of your mom and you are showing the respect and love to her. Then to your spouse. The love, the relationship between spouse is so important. A husband taking care of the wife and a wife taking care of the husband is observed by the child throughout his life. The child is always watching you. How is my dad? How is my mom? How is my dad to my mom? How is my mom to my dad? How is my dad to his own parents? And how is my mom to her own parents? And then how is my dad to his siblings? So you can see a picture here of two, you know, two aunts or maybe two ladies, maybe the mom kissing the hand of her own sister. So the child wants to see how you behave with your relatives around you. And then that's what he's learning every single day, every single day. So you can learn the importance of this time period. And then finally, you see your child kissing the forehead of the grandparent. Slowly and gradually, this thing comes in him, and through him will be transferred in his kids, and then the others who are coming. And like this, you become an ever living parent. You live in your child. Your child becomes like you. Why? Because you are a positive parent. A parent who has learned to live his life according to the teachings of Quran and Sunnah. That parent is an ever living parent. Now, let's reflect a little in our lives. I'm not saying everybody is like this, but most of us are like this. And see from a child's eye, how do they see us? How they see us as a parent. And it may not be present like all of these in one parent, but a few not. It all depends on how they see you. If you're really, really a workaholic person, if you are a busy person, they are going to see you busy at work. Have you heard mom saying to the child when he is at a picnic or he's somewhere with just mom, "Oh, dad is at work. Why didn't dad join us? Dad is at work. He can't join us. Sorry, Beta, dad is busy and dad will join us later." Now it all depends on how many times the mother has to say it or how many times the dad has to say this to the child. It all depends on who's busy, right? And it also not necessary that they're busy in just their work, because of course we know work is important, but more important is your child. We have to see how much time we are giving to the work and how much time we are giving to the children. And some people are so busy. They're not only busy in their work, they're busy in socializing, they're busy with their friends, they're busy in their own self, but they're not there in their child's life. They are just busy. And then think about lying, I can't, you could have heard it. It's very common. People saying, tell them I'm not coming in that event. Tell them I'm busy in a meeting. Oh, tell them that, something happened. Let's not go to that place. Let's go this place. Oh, we can make up something. All this is going in front of the child. And you do not know when and how the child is absorbing this, but child is learning from you. Then eating haram food, that's, like when you just, and it's a very simple thing. It's to understand there's so many places, that you would love to go to. Can't miss that burger place. I don't want to name any, but you know already. So think about that how you're going to, you know, keep in mind what I'm saying here. It's very important. So indirectly, you're teaching so much to your child. If you can't miss that burger place, though it's a haram food place, how can you expect your child in the age of 20s, 30s to do so when you in your 40s even couldn't avoid going to those places? Think about it. Are we are we moving our lives? Are we going through the time period as per Quran's teaching? Think about that. When we are having gossips with friends, what gossips are we having? What are we talking? Are we backbiting somebody? Are we making fun of our one friend with another? Are we criticizing on somebody's event? Think about it. And then think, is this quality in my child going to help him be an ever living parent? So, what is going to stay with him? Only the righteous guidelines, the righteous teachings could be ever living, right? Something that is ever living will stay with them, something that is positive. And then think about your nature. Are you a thankful person? Are you a person with gratitude? Are you a person who is appreciative of others, who is appreciating the efforts of other people in your family? Or you are a complaining person? Some people would comment, I regularly go for work, but still I didn't get raise in my salary. I do not know what kind of a workplace is this. I want to quit my job. It's just not good to stay. People are not good around me. I don't like the way they dress up. I don't like the way they talk. I don't like that food place. That's not interesting. Things like that. People complain a lot. Oh, it was a terrible weather. And I just had a very bad day. Think about your words. Think about think about what impression this is going to have on your child's mind. What is he absorbing? What is he learning? If you're complaining so much, what is he going to do? And if you're a complaining mom, you will always be complaining from your husband that you don't bring me gifts, you don't appreciate what I do in my home, things like this. You have to think how your relationship is with your husband. Is it a positive one? Is it a loving and caring one? Is it a forgiving one? That's very important. You have to be forgiving if you are good spouses. Honestly, it's a long-term relationship. The most important relationship around the child is mom and dad. And in fact, they are husband and wife. So, what kind of a relationship you have? Do you spare each other? Do you forgive each other? Do you cooperate with each other? Do you help each other? And think about the life of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Compare your life. Think about how many pains he has gone through. And if we go through those pains, are we complaining or we are being thankful? Just look at your life and reflect. Discouraging. They see you discouraging. How does that happen? Your comments makes discouraging. When you say words like, you can never score high marks, you can never be a successful person in your life, you cannot wake up on time, you cannot make up to school, how can you make up in your life, you cannot do this, then how can you do that? These are discouraging sentences that you're using and damaging the personality of your child. They need something else. They need something else from you. You can always go back and look into the characteristics I discussed. And I'm going to go back and we will discuss definitely. So think about it. Which places am I going myself? What am I discussing with others? How I'm talking to others? How am I in the relationship with my parents? Am I in the influence of shaitan? Am I raising questions for my child's thinking? Does he have a question mark? Does he see all this in me? Does he find me a practicing Muslim? Does he find me, leading my life through the teachings of Quran? Does he see all that I'm discussing? So think about that, and then think, what could an ever living parent be? And we are expecting my child has to be, the most perfect child. And then you lie about your child to others when you say that, oh, he never makes mistakes. Oh, he is the best one in the classroom. Oh, my child has done so good in the university. He is in the best university right now. He is living in the best area. Think about it. What is more important? What values have you given to him? Is he respectful to your own parents? Is he giving time to you even? Or he is busy in his own life? Because the moment he enters into teen, is he being helpful to you? Is he helping you in your home chores or in your workplace if you want to? Or wherever you are visiting, is he accompanying you or he's ignoring you? You talk to many kids these days and they will tell you, I'm so alone. I'm so lonely. Do you know how I can connect to my parents? I don't know the way how I can. And then they started to look up to others around them. And then it's just, sometimes their hard luck, they go through the companies which they shouldn't be in. There can be consequences, right? So think about again of these qualities: being thankful, saying prayers, having tawakkul, being patient, being caring and generous and loving, and of course, fighting against shaitan. It's a tool that you can give them, honestly. Now let's come back to characteristics. We'll talk about a little at different. I will give you an idea and then you can definitely go from there. So 0 to 6 years, they love, their senses are being developed. So think about keeping them in a place where they can take in everything sensorially through experiences. If you are saying a salah, definitely they can imitate you. Bring their own prayer mat, can be a small one, can be a big one. He can learn to roll and unroll it because they are developing physically, right? So show them how to roll a mat, unroll a mat, and then say prayers with you. Don't force them. This is the age when they're learning through play. So have a fun time with them. Run with them. Play with them. Maybe let's see who gets the prayer mat first. Oh, is it you or me? And then start running and then get it. And then let's see who can lay out the prayer mat first. Games. Play games with them. Prophet Muhammad used to play games, right, with the grandchildren. Yes, just like that. So he's constructing this. Self-construction is taking place. Absorb in mind. Read Quran in front of him, and then think what you're doing. Say the words, repeat the words, and he will be listening to you and learning through you. At this age is such a beautiful stage. Even if you they can learn through poems, they can learn through stories. This is such a beautiful age. Tell them stories, stories of prophets. Share them stories of your childhood. Tell them about you. How were you when you were 6 years old or 4 years old? They will love to listen. And then you can definitely take their help at home. Appreciate them when they're carrying something for you from the kitchen to the dining table place. Involve them in gardening, involve them in washing your car, all those activities they love. And then at the end, you can say that, oh, you're such a lovely child, you helped mama today. You're such a loving baby, you helped dad today. Appreciate them, they would love it. Go and lie down in your mom's lap. Hug your mom and say, oh, I love my mom. And then see how he behaves. He will rush to you and then hug you or hug your grandma. Just see how they behave. They love to see that. If you are a spouse and you say, oh, or she's my mom, and you'll just cuddle around your spouse, and the child would run to you and say, no, this is my mom. And then just see, observe how they behave. They imitate you, they copy you. You're going to a mosque, they are observing. You're talking to neighbors, they are observing. You're cooking something, taking it to neighbors, they are observing. So 6 to 12 years, now this is a very reasoning mind. They know why. This is the best time you can talk as much as you can about your religion, about Quran, teachings of it, why prophets came, what was the reason for the prophets to come, why did Allah make this world, who was the first prophet, who was the last prophet, how did the world come into being, what is the role of the creatures around us in the environment. They can take and take and take all the knowledge at this stage. The previous child, you cannot be strict for, saying salah. They can just copy you. But after the age of 10, you can be a little strict about prayers. But keep in mind that you have to be the one first, saying your 5 times prayers daily. Take them to mosque as much as you can. Participate in events where they can acquire knowledge, where they can go and search. Take them to historical places. This is the age when they would like to read the whole, tile if it has information. Taking them to museums, taking them to, historical places, and then talk about it. Come back home. Find out facts about those historical places, find about places that you think are more important, where there was a role of how Islam spread in the world from where to where. Talk about regions, talk about how many Muslims are there in the world in different countries. Everything they can take, they can actually find out data for you from the internet if you want, and they can present it to you. They can actually make projects around that and present it to you. You can have neighbors, you can have friends who are those in the same age group, and then take them jointly to a park to discover things, to go in nature, go and think about the things, what Quran says about nature, and how Allah has talked about the beautiful creatures that he created in the world. Talk about it. Ask the child to come back, prepare a report about it. He would love to do all this right now. So 12 to 18 years. Now is the child when the child really wants to be in, and in the discovery of himself, wants to fit in a group. Be very mindful of the group that he is moving in. Look into friends. Be with, honestly, if you want to know the friends he's hanging out with, be the friends with the parents of those friends. It's very important. They're practicing for adulthood, right? They're having emotional changes, so be very gentle to them. Yes, a little strict about prayers, but ask reasons. Think what they're doing. Talk to them. Try to understand what's going on. Don't force them, but be gentle and talk politely and try to understand their reasons for why they are not following such and such thing. Or just be with them. Try to engage them into Salah in different ways. Now you can have a Jamaat at your home and create situations where he can have love for the Salah. I tried calling boys of my son at my home and having Jamaat at my home because I have only one son. So I tried to create an environment around him. And then when his friends used to come, just, like I used to call them on one prayer time, and then I used to keep some snacks in home for them. They would love to come, maybe not for Salah, but for the snacks. But that's okay. It's just the environment that you're creating. And then appreciate them, whoever is taking the lead of the Jamaat, and appreciate them for the kirat that they're doing. Honestly, they get engaged. They love to be in groups. They like to hang out in groups. Anyone can take responsibility taking the whole group to the mosque for the Jummah prayers and then be with them. On the way back, go to coffee shop, go Tim Hortons, somewhere, if you are wherever you are, think about an outing, connect something with that prayers. They need experiences. At your home, keep a basketball match or something along with the prayers, along with a little teaching. That's absolutely fine. But think of ways, creative ways, where you can involve them in something which could be fun for them too. But of course, in the limits which are allowed in the according to the Quran teachings. So be more creative how you can carry a group now, a group of teenagers. Think of creative ways you will love to see how they turn up to be. They would love having you, like being around them. Even if they're with their friends, they would love to have you because then their friends will start calling you, oh, you have a cool mom, you have a cool dad, oh, they do so much fun with us, and things like that. You'll start hearing those comments. And then, of course, be gentle with them. And when you're talking about learning of the teachings of Islam, definitely think about how Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to be with this age group. Read with them, read Prophet stories with them, discuss with them at this stage also. Yes, absolutely. Now, this time you're doing it in a group. This time you're doing with the friends of your child. And you can give them a task which they can do and bring it back to you. Take a feedback from them. Okay, 18 to 24, very interesting age. Okay, let me go a little behind. Yeah. Sometimes they love to do cooking, as you see in the picture. So the session that I had today was a potluck, and I involved my son to cut the pieces of chicken and then help me in the cooking. And while doing that, he asked me, what is the occasion like? And I started talking about, oh, my topic is ever living parent, and this is what I will be discussing with them. And if you have any idea, help me out. So, and then they start going on and on. You just have to give them importance at this age, and you have to take their opinion. Start thinking from that perspective that you are taking their opinion. Show them that as if you are new to something and they know more. This is appreciating their knowledge. This is showing how much you respect their values, how much you respect their opinions. And if you find something lacking, again, think of another event that could cover up with the things that they are lacking. So if they talk about fairness in a different way, if they talk about anything in the environment in a different way, think about how I can bring this in his life without even letting him know. A few days, a few weeks back, I had a teenagers group from 8 to 18, and I did flower arrangement with them. And then that was a group of teenagers who learned flower arrangement. And in that, actually, I was talking about the topic haya. And then I involved all of them in the discussion by talking to them and then discussing with them what is haya in Islam and how or what how do you understand that? And then all the activities were around that topic. I kept treasure hunt for them. They went and figured out where the slips were. They found, they brought it, they discussed among each other. They had a lot of fun, those teenagers. So I just did it in group, calling some friends and then inviting some friends and then, having some snacks for them. But they loved doing it. And you take different age groups, involve them. So my oldest daughter, she was the one who was leading them all, and the younger children were there, and they all were working in groups, and they had a lot of fun. In fact, or in compared to this, if you just simply talk to them, oh, look at your dress, how do you dress up, how do you go outside, that's not how you do it, things like this will not help them develop love for the religion that you're teaching or anything that you're teaching to them. If you want them to adopt something, you really, really have to think of creative ways and how you have to learn the characteristics of the children's age group and then apply. This is economic independence. Honestly, a lot can be done at this time period. So, just some examples: have a basketball match or have a debate club somewhere in the library, or, have games with them somewhere in a community center. And then talk about yourself, talk about how you do when you are moving in the society, how you are dealing with problems. Honestly, they listen so much. This time after 18, they're getting really involved with you. They really want to be your second hand. They want to be your right hand and then do work with you. They become like your assistants, and they feel so strong. They are more stronger, right? They take more responsibility. You can let them um, you know think about, like, just the way I'm saying about the previous activity. I gave it to my daughter and I asked her that, can you find some facts, as if I was unknown about it. I said, can you find facts and think of activities, and then we can do it with your friends, and then just go on, shopping with them, talk about their, and always when you think that she's all by herself, ask her to bring her friends along, and then just do a little discussion with them while you're shopping. I love this scarf. I would like to buy this. I think it matches so well with my dress. I feel so comfortable having the same scarf with me. It's just like more presentable and things like that. You don't even have to tell her, oh, you buy one because I'm buying one. No, just you buy yourself and talk about it. Appreciate your own dressing. That, okay, I love wearing dresses like this. It just makes me feel more comfortable when I'm in the public. This is going to help your child slowly and gradually. This age, you cannot, uh, you know, taunt them, criticize them. No, not at all. They will not be comfortable with you then. They will not share what they have to share with you. It's very, very important for them to share things with you. If they are in a difficulty, they have to talk to you. You should be the first person whom they should communicate with. Otherwise, they are going to find sources which may not be right for them. There's a lot on internet these days. Then they're trying to inquire something from there, and something might not be so helpful, and they're learning so many things which you won't even know. Be a complete friend to your child, and be like a team in home, and then deal with situations. If you are going through a rough time or tough time, talk to them. This is the age when they are adults. Talk to them that you're facing this problem. Oh, I had an accident. Oh, I'm going through an insurance thing. Oh, I can't. Those are live moments which you can share with them and talk to them about. Moral values are very important at this age. They are learning so much about right and wrong, and they are differentiating. They will say, oh, this is not right. They will say more about this at this age. Say, this is not fair. Why is this happening to us? So this is the right age when you can give moral values. You can give more Islamic values to them. I had an incident with me in the previous months. I had an accident, and at that time, I had the best chance to tell them that we shouldn't be lying about how the accident happens or things like that. And oh, I have to give the clear picture to the insurance company. I cannot take a penny more, a penny less. All this you can actually show them by your own life. Was there somebody taking pictures? Oh, yes, I saw somebody taking pictures. We cannot keep them out of our lives and just bluff and expect them to be truthful. If we are lying ourselves, we have to be very, very careful in our own lives. How are we paying our taxes? How are we being good citizens? How we are being a role model for them? How we are supporting at work? How we talk about work? Everything they are observing, and they are becoming like you day by day. So involve them in your problems now. This is the best age when they will feel just like a friend to you. They will discuss with you. If your younger one is going through a tough time, discuss this with your older one, and then discuss that, yes, dad is going through a difficulty, we have to support. Or mom is going through a difficulty, we have to support. Or your younger sibling is having a difficulty, we have to support. And then see what the ideas they're coming up with. They come up with such a great support. So they are taking responsibility. Give them more responsibility. This whole presentation that you see is designed actually by my daughter. She takes responsibility of me doing anything on media. She takes care of the social media. She takes care of the work that I prepare and then I present. So actually, she's my second hand. And same, I'm trying to give so much to my children, and same as you. I appreciate every single parent who's taking out time to watch this. And I know you are making great efforts. And your efforts are not only being recognized by the people around you, but definitely by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah knows your dedication. Allah knows what you're going through. Allah knows what hardships you're facing in this parenthood. And it's not easy. Life is never easy. He's testing us. He's testing each one of us. But the good thing is, for the ones who are righteous, the one who are actually following the teachings of Quran and Sunnah, are the righteous one. And the ones who have tawakkul, the ones who know that Allah is helping, will know that they are trying their best and that it's being appreciated. And those are the ones who will be ever living parents, who are giving all these values to their kids, passing on. Our kids are the responsibility. We have to be answerable for this responsibility. What does Allah instructs the parents? Allah Azza Jal will ask parents about their children on the day of resurrection before He asks the child about his parents. Just as the father has rights over his son, The son has rights over his father, just as Allah says in the surah number 66, verse 6. And we have enjoined upon man goodness to parents. This is Surah Ankabut, Surah number 29 and verse number 8. Then there is another one, Allah says in Surah Tahrim, 66 Surah and verse 6, O you who have believed, protect yourself and your families from a fire whose fuel is people and stones. So you see, thus, Allah's instruction to parents to take care of their children comes before his instruction to children to honor their parents. So whoever neglects to teach his child that which will benefit him and leaves him without guidance has committed a grievous wrong. In most cases, when children cause mischief, it is the fault of their parents, who neglected them and failed to teach them the obligatory duties and sunnahs of Islam. They neglected them when they were young, and as a result, they were of no benefit to their parents when they grew up. Some parents blame their children for not being good to them. And the child says, Oh, my father, you were not good to me when I was young. And that is why I'm not good to you now that you are an old man. You did not care about me when I was a child, and that is why I do not care about you now that you are old. Please be mindful of this. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, the man is a custodian of the members of his household, and he is responsible for them. The woman is a custodian of her husband's household and children, and she is responsible for them. Allah's instruction to parents to take care of their children comes before his instructions to children to take care of their parents. Please be mindful of that. I hope I have passed my message to you all. And again, I would like to stress that who is an ever-living parent is the one who is a positive parent, who has a goal to become a positive parent. And who is the positive parent? The one who is leading his life through the teachings of Quran and following Sunnah. Now is the time. Start reading Quran translation. Please connect to Allah. Make du'as. Pray. Pray for you, the well-being of your child. What can you do? There are so many things, but I can mention a few. Pray to Allah for the child's well-being. Allah says himself in Quran, and make righteous for me my offsprings. Indeed, I have repented to you, and indeed, I am of the Muslims. He is teaching us prayers. He's teaching us du'as from Quran. And then giving the child a good manner. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ's life is an example. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ would give the children of the Sahaba good names, and he changed the names of some of them because they had bad meanings and so on. So think about that. Through Sunnah, we come to know that names have its own importance, right? Showing compassion and kindness to him when dealing with him. It was narrated that Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu said, I have never seen anyone more compassionate towards children than the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it is narrated by Muslim. It was narrated that Aisha radiallahu anha said, some Bedouin people came to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they said, do you kiss your sons? They said, yes. They said, but we, by Allah, never kiss them. Then to this, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, what can I do for you if Allah has taken away compassion from your hearts? Narrated by Muslim. Please hug and love and kiss your children at any age they need it, at every single age they need it. So think about it. Think about, do we have that role in our child's life? Preserving the child's dignity and refraining from revealing him, rebuking him, and hitting him. Another point, paying attention to the child's right to play and play with him in ways that will benefit him and not harm him. So it's not like, think about when you're playing games, what games you're playing. So not harming his personality, rather bringing in, you know, benefit, excitement, adventure. Okay, another point is striving to teach and discipline the child. Think of right ways to discipline your child. And that can only be possible if you have rules in your home. Yes, you can have rules. Why not? And the best age to take in rules is from 6 to 12 years. That's when you have rules and they will become so blindly following the rules, they won't even say no to you. Honestly, that is the age. Because remember, they're learning the reasons why. So think about that. And that is the age when you are setting the rules, and those rules stay with them for a long time. So having a rule, this time we have to be at home no matter what, no matter where you go, and the child is going to follow you. He will. This is the rule, how you sit to have your dinner. At dinner time, everybody has to be together. Or let's have a session of Quran translation every weekend, once a day, or in a certain search time. All family members sit together, listen to the translation of Quran, and then any one of them can read it. Make it a routine, make it a rule in your home, and they would, because when it becomes a routine, they start following it. They don't hesitate. But if you do it once in a blue moon, then that is the time when they make, when they get irritated, they get frustrated, or what is happening or why is happening. But if it's a routine, a set routine, they definitely follow it. Do activities like, this whole week nobody's complaining, no complaints, and make it a fun. If one is complaining, say, oh, remember, no complaints. So slowly and gradually bring these qualities in a playful manner in your family. Please confide in your children, talk to them, tell them about your weaknesses also. Sometimes it's okay, they will feel more connected to you when you share your weaknesses, and then they will know that yes, it's fine. But even parents go through tough times, and it's fine, it's okay. And then how do they come out of those? Having tawakkul in them. Having tawakkul. Yes, I know things are going difficult, but I know better time is going to come back. Just like how after every night there is a day. So when you're going through, show them how you do. Every time when you're going through a tough time, oh, let's say salah together and then pray together. You have to approve, you have to engage. Do you remember the building of the Kaaba? Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam built the Kaaba with his son's help, though the son was so young. Oh, he couldn't do it? Yeah, he could, but he took his helps to teach him. So think about, if you're working, if you were taking your kid to your workplace and showing him what the work that you're doing would really help him. So that was all for today. Nourish your children just like plants are being nourished. Be more careful. Just like plants need a lot of care, children needs a lot of care. It's just like I'm giving an example, though I think we have really had a good discussion, a good talk about it. And I'm so thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this session came to an end, and almost that I had in my mind, I could deliver it to today. He's the witness, and this deed is again just for the sake of Allah, to please him, to make him happy, for the knowledge that I have, and the reason to transfer it to you so you can actually start understanding Quran more. So